Okay, so Steve and I took a little break, and as we were talking, there's some things that were said off record that we won't repeat, and there's just some things that we can repeat. And I'm gonna lead with what did I say I was gonna lead with?
Knowledge.
Knowledge is power. No, just kidding. I don't think we came up with that. No, what was it? It was the phone call that changed your life.
Yeah. So as mentioned previously, Kay and I worked at the hotel for a long time. I worked there for 8 years, and it paid decently, but at the same time, it wasn't enough to get an actual place. So I got it was a phone call, but it was an email. Mm-hmm. One day, and this guy was like, "Hey, I just saw your GitHub account and wanted to talk to you more about that." And of course, LinkedIn spams the fuck out of you these days. So I was like, "Okay, which part of it did you like?" To see if it was an actual bot or whatever. Yeah. And next thing I know, I was in an interview, and the second and third and fourth and fifth, and I went from making $12 an hour to a lot more.
Both times I lean in, I'm like, okay, you're not gonna give up.
And it really did. It just comes down to a point where, for me at least, there's a certain level of, and again, nobody really agrees with me on this, but there's a certain level of morality or ethical,
issues,
substance with something like this, because there's jobs and positions where you're actually making a difference. You're actually doing something that is conducive to the well-being of your community, the world, whatever it may be, whether EMT or a kindergarten teacher or whatever, and I've struggled with that a little bit, because I don't think at the end of the day, what I'm doing is conducive or furthering humanity in a way that I think is appropriate for the pay scale. And it's hard because, it's great. I mean, who doesn't want to make money? And it's fucking fantastic. But at the same time, it's a bit wonky. EMTs make $18 an hour, and kindergarten teachers make, I don't know for sure, but, not nearly enough based on the GoFundMes that I've seen for buying school supplies and whatnot. And, it's like I ensure that this particular website looks good on mobile and desktop, and this button is the correct size and the font and the, whatever. And there's times where I really kind of struggle with that, because I'm not making a big difference in the world. I'm making a big difference in my world. Yeah. I've got my savings, my 401k, and I can help my mom and my sister out with their expenses, and I can help my dad out with his expenses and stuff. But it's and I guess that in itself is enough to be like, okay, this is totally worth it. Yeah. But it's like, if I didn't have the family that needed help, what's the point? Right. So,
but see, I think that's the thing, though. Is I would say the majority, not just majority of people in the industry, in that industry, but majority of people in general probably don't have that morality issue, because their morals and ethics are probably a bit askew anyway. So I think it's,
well, I mean, in that regard too, it's if somebody were to come to you and say, "Hey, Kay, I'll pay you $200,000 a year to paint potatoes," you wouldn't turn that down.
No. That's my specialty.
But there's certainly something about, and again, I don't speak on everything as a whole, or it's just weird. Yeah. Again, much like, what I said earlier about the whole, people that get the most or need the most, get the most. There's a lot of work that goes into that as well, right? Like, a lot of the people that are in tech or whatever the industries in this community now are, kind of sucking up all the money and getting all the bad press or whatever. It took a long time to get there. One thing that we spoke about a minute ago was, and I'll have to fact check this, but I remember this from one of my classes in Colorado, where the Citibank.
I love this. Everybody, go ahead.
The Citibank logo was created by a person, and memory serves me correctly, it was something like, during the pitch meeting, they were doing this and doing that. And I think Picasso, there's a big famous Picasso story about this as well, where, he did it in 30 seconds. and they're like, here's your logo, and they're like, that's great, we'll take it. And he's like, that'll be $35,000. I'm like, whoa, what the fuck, man? You just did it in 30 seconds. He's like, yeah, but it took me 20 years to learn how to do it in 30 seconds.
Yeah. Love it.
So in that regard, it's, being able to be good enough at your job and being good to do what you need to do and provide a service is one thing, but being able to do it well at a hat's drop that takes time, and so you're paying for what
everything that led to that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So on the one hand, I'm a bit conflicted because it has taken a lot of time and a lot of reading and a lot of trial and error and breaking things and fixing things and getting into a mindset where it's like, okay, well, this is coming up. I have an idea of what's going on here. But it just feels weird.
I have a good, analogy now. Now you had such a good analogy. I want one. And so I'm I'll say aspiring writer. Struggling is probably the better word. And so essentially there's a great book by Jack London that I just finished reading, Martin Eden, right? He's this guy who's struggling writer. It's a possible autobiography. It's always in debate. Long story short, this guy struggles for his whole writing career, basically, right? And nobody wants anything to do with him until finally one thing breaks, right? One thing breaks, and then another thing breaks, and another thing breaks, to the point where now he's educated himself so much to the regard that he's above what he was trying to achieve, and he looks down on all this other stuff, and he goes, what was I doing all this for, basically? Right. But the point is then he just had so much work built up because nobody wanted it that people were like, I want this, I want this, I want this. And he was getting so much recognition for what he kept saying as, this is a very loose quote, but it's work produced. He's like, this is stuff I did when you guys hated me. You guys all said no to all of this stuff for years and years and years. Yeah. And now that something broke and people want me, then you want this, and this is all the stuff you said no to. And now you're willing to pay, I got like 100 times more than what you were offering in the first place. So it's kind of essentially the same thing. Yeah. And now, I mean, it almost sounds like you're kind of a Martin Eden yourself, because it's literally the exact same thing where you were fighting for it, and now that you have it, you're like, morality-wise, you're like, I'm above this, and this isn't right, to a certain extent. But I mean, again,
to an extent, yeah. To an extent. It's just, that's a good point. The fact that this hasn't gone away, this feeling hasn't gone away for 3.5 years that I've been there, could be one of two things. One, it could be a crazy amount of insecurity and fear, or it could be, something's wrong here. Yeah. I wouldn't take it back, which again is probably very hypocritical, and it's just it's new to me, and it's been new, and seeing people struggle, like my sister and my nephew out in Colorado, they're struggling, man. They're struggling, and she's doing what she can, and
what does she do for a living?
She works at a she works.
I didn't mean to put you on the spot. The moment I said that, I was like, oh, maybe that's personal. Sorry.
So I help where I can, because I feel like if I don't, then
morality,
if I was like, no, Mom, you should deal with your own fucking issues, and my sister, good luck, and I'm sitting here fucking like raining and
counting the bills,
that's not. But at the same time, it's like I'm happy to be in that position where it's like I can help people, and I can help the people that I'm close with, and my family and whatever. The overarching point here is that it's just so weird for somebody to be paid a salary for something that is not
producing something positively.
This is a bias of mine, but it's like, like say back to paramedics or whatever. Right. A buddy of mine was a paramedic, and
I have also a few EMT buddies.
It's just it's weird.
Yeah,
But
I have guys like that are same as you. I mean, they make, as you say, quote unquote, a lot of money. We don't have any specifications there, but what my point is they love that shit and they spend it on shit. You know what I mean? Like there's that other flip of the coin. They're trying to get as much as they possibly can. And they're getting like free Caltrain like stuff. They're getting free food, obviously. Yep. They're all in the, like, being out here. You're gonna have at least 6 to 7 to 8 friends that are in the tech industry. You know what I mean? And each personality that I've met is super different.
Yeah.
You know, like in your case, you are, I think, a rare breed of those that are in the tech industry. 100%, because not one other person has... I mean, like... I'm not going to name names, but people highlight what car they're going to get. What, like a buddy of mine just, I don't want to name names, but got a really expensive place. And he all he talks about is all the free, like, I'm like, what do you do? And he goes, I plan out my lunches because you can actually go on my phone and plan it through my company and get what I want. Yeah. And I'm like, cool, but what do you do? What do you actually do? It's like, right. And that's the thing. So, I mean, that leads me to my other point. And I guess from the perspective of people that aren't in the tech industry, who are around the tech industry, we see that. We see that as an overall monster. Like, that's the monster of Silicon Valley, is the excess.
Yeah.
Of people that are in there, and you're like, what do you do to deserve the money that you're getting?
And that I think is like the main question here, is because it's not easy to in one I think that's partly an unfair question, in regardless of what I've said.
If you want to fight about it, we'll fight about it.
So like we talked about, it's what have you done? What have you done to deserve this salary? $400,000 a year, or 200 or 100 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And they were saying in San Francisco, like they were saying $100,000 is like poverty or something.
Oh yeah, it's insane.
You have to make like at least 180 combined.
It's insane.
So there's a problem here. But again, it comes back to like, what did you do to earn this? And it's like, well, me not personally, but it's like, people went to school.
Yeah.
They've paid their dues.
Right.
Who knows what kind of background they have. They've gotten to a place where they can contribute something that is monetarily valuable. Mm-hmm. And I guess my problem is it just gets blown on a fucking new Mercedes, and
that's what I mean.
Dude, buy what you want. That's fine. But I don't know.
It's so gross, though. That's my point too. It's so gross that what people are, they're making insane money. First off, and this is my perspective. This is me.
Yeah,
they're making insane money for, again, questionable, I guess, production. Whether the production's there.
Well, I mean, the production is there, but it's based on the company that they're employed by, right?
Yeah.
So for me, for example, I'm supporting people and products and things that are important to the company, and that's worth it.
Yeah.
Is it worth it to me? I mean, yes, but there's times in my life where I'm like, I'm just gonna go fucking retire in somewhere in New Hampshire, working on a big cat farm or something.
That's what I mean. At least I think the way I can kind of like look at it is like, there's so many like cogs in this system, and yet the cogs are like made of fucking gold. Doesn't matter what it is. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there could be, people who are making, at the top are making insane money. It's ridiculous. But then even the guys at the bottom that are like you said, making a button, are making like 100K. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's just, like I said, the excess for the minimal things that are going on to a certain extent. Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
Heavy sigh.
I don't mean to like demean people that have gotten into where they're at. That's not my point. It's just from a personal perspective. I would love to, pay off and help my family and friends, and just make a difference in some way, shape, or form. And luckily, I'm now in a position where I can do that. I've been doing that, but overall, it's just. I don't know how to verbalize it in a way that makes sense, but it's just weird.
Too much.
It's too much.
Pause.